Kiki ma ma ma. Welcome to the Cult Film Showdown's expedition to the land of the masters of horror. I am Jim Cotta, and I am joined by two of the intrepid adventurers from the Cult Film Showdown, Nick Boxer.
Greetings and I don't do that anymore. Right. Enjoy your spaghetti.
Remember to tip your waitress. Jack Hall.
Hold on, I want just on the phone with Kiki Mama. I just gotta hang up.
Yeah, I mean, don't put her on hold because you're paying by the minute.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna hang up on the bitch.
But wasn't she one of the leads in Don Ho's specials? Kiki Mama.
Kiki Mama.
Sex operators take it personally when you hang up?
No, I think it's right that she was one.
I don't know.
She was the one of Don Ho's. That's right. I'm pretty sure she got laid.
Also, some of the best episodes of Love Boat.
Oh, she was great on Love Boat. Remember that affair she had with Julie?
That's from Love Boat
Very
Nights. That's
very progressive.
The edgier spin-off Love Boat Nights.
Yes.
Oh God, why are we here?
Oh.
Did I mention the Masters of Horror? Well,
nope.
We here at the Cult Film Showdown are taking a break from our search for the ultimate B movie to watch, view, speak of, and enjoy a series from 2005 to 2007 called The Masters of Horror. And we are approaching the halfway point. This is season 1, episode 12 out of a total of 26 episodes. So next time will be the halfway point, the end of next episode, I guess, technically. And this time it is a story called Haekel's Tale. And Jack, who are our Masters of Horror this time?
Well, the screenplay is by Masters of Horror series creator Mick Garris. And you know, I mean, it's funny. I mean, he has been all over this series as far as, I mean, he directed an episode and wrote one there and such. But it's funny when you look at his filmography, not so much other than being a Masters of Horror and gathering this together. You don't really, I mean, he has some horror background, but he's not the most horror guy that is showcased. The short story is based on the other hand, is from Clive Barker, who was probably only behind Stephen King as the most influential and important horror author of his generation. Mm-hmm. Dean Koontz probably being third. Clive Barker's the only one whose name you would put above a project, such as along with Stephen King, in order to sell that project. Mm-hmm. So you see Clive Barker's Presents or Clive Barker's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, that's a deep horror. You know, we talk about, again, is this a master of horror or not? Clive Barker is one of the masters, not just a master, one of the masters of horror. The director, on the other hand, is a bit complicated. John McNaughton is known for movies such as Mad Dog and Glory with Uma Thurman and Bill Murray and Robert De Niro, which is a dark comedy / thriller. Wild Things with Neve Campbell and Denise Richards, Kevin Bacon. As far as horror is concerned, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I challenge anyone to think of a second scene from Wild Things.
You pretty much watch the sequels just going, I hope they have that same scene over again. Yeah, no, his horror kind of what you would hang your hat on. It isn't really a horror film. It's horrific and disturbing, but it's 1986 as though it wasn't released until 89 due to the controversy of the film. Henry's Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, wow.
Which is, again, it's horrific, it's disturbing, but it's not a horror film, I don't think. It's a character study. It's at times a dark comedy, I think, in some ways. Oddly twisted, a very disturbing film. So that's kind of where you would say this is the reason why he got this job as a master of horror in this series, is because of that film. But I don't think of it as a horror film. It's the way it normalizes a serial killer is horrific, but not really a horror film. Do you agree?
The stuff in horror film, Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer, not a horror film. Can't say I agree. I'd say it's it is within the spectrum of horror for me.
It is for you?
I might tag it more as thriller, but that the line between those things is so blurry. Because I mean, we talk about Hitchcock being being one of the great masters of horror, but really we would consider most of his films thrillers now, because like the definition of horror has changed. I think probably at the time it would have been considered a horror film, but that definition has changed over the years. So I would say I'm going to go with no, not a horror film.
But definitely disturbing.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
For sure. Yeah.
So I mean, again, in some ways, this is kind of where when you think of him doing, I guess he did The Harvest in 2013, which was a horror film. But I mean, this would have been in 2006 or 2007 that he did this.
Would have been filmed in 6, yeah, or it would have been filmed in 6, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Or so five actually, yeah, because it aired in early 06.
So he's definitely an accomplished director. Whether or not he's a horror director is up to interpretation, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have
enough that he knows his way around a camera and got Clive Barker to sign off. That's close enough for me.
Yeah, I think
Clive Barker gives it the bloodlines it needs. That name gives it.
Pun intended, is it? Wasn't that one of his series, Bloodlines?
That was his Marvel Comics series. Was Clive Barker's Bloodlines?
Was it really?
Wasn't it?
It sounded familiar. Yeah, it sounded familiar.
I think that was the series.
I think you're talking about it. Bloodlines was a completely Razorline was his.
Razorline.
Oh yes. Right, that was
Bloodlines was just a shitty crossover.
That's right. That was the DC Annuals.
Yes.
Crossover where they introduced a bunch of new characters, 2 of which became something in 50 some odd books.
One of which hasn't appeared in 20 years.
Haekel. Who's Haekel? Time for Nick to tell us what happens in Haekel's Tale. And
Haekel's Tale. Okay. This is saying seasons of liberty.
You're saying who's the one you're saying? I'm curious.
Which one?
The one character you're saying.
Hitman.
Who? Hitman. So Resurrection Man doesn't count for you?
No, he got 2 limited series and hasn't been mentioned since.
Yes, he has. Resurrection Man counts.
Okay, I don't care.
This has been a crossover of We Talk Comics and Masters of Horror. Resurrection Man was one of the new 50.
Under different names.
I got to vote with Jack because Resurrection Man was one of the new 52 characters. He didn't get a long run, but it wasn't a limited series either. So he's at least shown back up that much. And there was another character outside of those 2 that what was his name? Nuke or Explosion Man, or he had his own series for a year or so too.
Well, Anima also was out of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, see now when you say it this way, it's the most successful new character launch of all time. Because Marvel did the same thing the same year, the year after. Marvel did the same thing that year or the year after, and I don't think any of those characters ever appeared again.
Oh my God! Can I please tell you about a Haekel's Tale?
Haekel's Tale. Which
I forgot we're here to talk about that.
It does. Okay, from the outside, it sounds like a Dickens Christmas story. So tell us what happens in Haekel's Tale.
Well, this is the obligatory in every anthology series. We need a Gothic tale. This is the Master of Horror season 1 Gothic tale. We're talking full on Frankenstein references. We're talking guys in weird suits and hanging, and lots of quotes of you're worshiping the devil with any mention of science. We get a guy going to a cabin trying to get a story about how to resurrect his dead wife. Woman comes out and starts to tell him a tale that if he listens to, she will resurrect his wife. Then we take a jump back and a little bit further in the past, and she tells him of a tale of another doctor trying to discover the mysteries of resurrecting the dead. We get some great little character cameos from people who claim they can do it and stuff. And pretty soon there's zombies and lots of sex that you don't really want to watch.
Yes, you do.
Speak for yourself.
Totally disagree there.
Keep going, Nick.
And then we get the twist ending that's sort of predictable, that's expected in these Gothic tales. Special effects are pretty good, and I enjoy that particular take on the Frankenstein tale. It's way different than anything else I've seen, so it's interesting. If a little predictable, it's kind of fun.
It's got a couple twists at the end. It's very weird. I think I do want to watch those sex. I probably watched those sex scenes about 7 times.
Well, you're kind of sick then because there's zombies and.
I know she's having sex with a zombie, but she's also got the most perfect rack I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's. I will go so far. I will only go so far as to say the most perfect rack we've seen since Dear Woman. So I got to compliment the casting on this. They knew what they wanted.
Actually, with the nudity, now it's reminding me of like a Hammer type picture.
Yeah, I
would, bit, which I didn't until this moment. It didn't click in the head.
Yeah, I'd second that. Yeah, I mean Hammer just specialized in that Gothic thing, and then later on merging topless women and Gothic horror was their bread and butter. So yeah,
for a 50-minute episode, it really takes its time to build to the horror. You know, I got a little bored. I found it a little slow as it went on because but it is kind of, it fits.
We got gross stuff happening in every I mean, they could have not had the hanging body dripping goo into a sandwich. Yet we had that, and that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and the zombie dog was freaking great. And the character actor that played the professor, I forget his name. Can somebody help me there? He was chewing up the scene like nobody's business. I love him.
John Polito, who did, I think he did several films with the Coen brothers, and my personal favorite role being in Miller's Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrific in that as one of the mob bosses. But yeah, Nick, tell us a bit more. Give some more context to John Polito's character, who is
he's sort of like the sideshow carnival guy. Think Wizard of Oz guy, only evil, resurrecting zombies. And charging for it because it takes a year off his life or something, and sort of the mean dude because he won't resurrect a little girl without $100.
He's not a good Christian man.
But at the same time, you sort of go, That's how that would have to go.
I love that line. I love that line. Just like, hey, he's like, you got $100. And then the grieving mother says, well, I thought you do it, as a good Christian. And I'm like, what this guy does as a job. Like, how could you? Like you're fishing in the wrong pond if you think that that there's the Venn diagram of those two things of a necromancer and a good Christian is basically just Jesus.
I thought of it particularly that way, but that is a good point.
And our star does rate him off as a charlatan rather easily. I mean, just trying to explain what happened through a combination of puppetry and trickery. That zombie dog was like pretty convincing in that way.
Like a puppet to me
at the time.
It looked like a Meet the Feebles puppet. For the first time, get a good look at it. It is you wait for what traditionally happens in this kind of story is that that character will get his comeuppance and see real, like this happened real when he's been faking it, but that also isn't the direction that character of that character's arc. He's a huckster, but he's an honest huckster.
Yeah, I also thought he was a charlatan. I mean, that was what they set up. I mean, spoiler alert, he's not. But yeah, I thought he was.
I think they spent quite a bit of, like you were talking about, we've talked many times about you've only got 50 some minutes in these to make what is essentially a feature film type story. So it becomes a short film as opposed to a TV episode. And they do spend quite a bit of the start setting up the guy who's not the lead in the story, the grieving widower. It closes well, but it was odd as I was watching it that I'm telling you this story to tell you this other story. And then a lot of work on on John, the real main character of the story, and his strange adventures. Ernst Haekel, sorry.
Did my cough come through there?
Not very much, but now that you've talked about it, it's
yeah. I'm just curious. I tried to mute it, hit the cough button, and then I realized I hit it twice. Professionals, folks. We've been doing this for over a decade.
That's right. That's right. We've got somewhere in the range of 400 or 500 hours of not hitting the mute button right.
At least we haven't lost an episode in a while.
Maybe that 10,000 hours thing is literal, and it's like at 9,999 hours you're still crap, and then just bing.
Oh, I'm hoping that 10,000 hours is cumulative.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's never meant to be in a row.
Okay, I thought this was one of the more ambitious episodes they took on, and I think it works more than it doesn't. There were worse episodes. Dreamhouse didn't accomplish anywhere near what this one did. I kind of believed this world and had fun there for the 15 minutes we were there.
Yeah, I think overall, like it is one of the ones that works better as a pure horror story, and it was interesting to get into a gothic horror because this wasn't a show that had a big budget, but they certainly made use of what they had in this one because we see a house that part of this happens in. We see several sets that are like clearly built for the show as opposed to found locations. There's no Canada. I don't have any Canada spotting for this one because again, like this was soundstage as opposed to, whatever kind of warehouse space you could get into.
It's for me. I mean, it's one of those. It's largely forgettable episode. It's not bad, but it's not like I'm going to remember it. It's not going on my list of favorites of the season. It's just all right. I think it just, I don't know. Like I say, for me, I just found it a little slow. Very well cast, very well performed, but just the pacing was a little off for me.
Really, I thought they included so much in here because they could have just done the guy walks up to a house and is exposed to what they're exposed to. Like, you didn't need the bridging sequences. You didn't have to learn that he was a doctor at one point. You didn't have he's condemned by society. You didn't have to have the sideshow bit in there. He could have just walked in and there's a woman that has sex with the zombies.
That part's not forgettable.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I mean, I thought it was very ambitious in how much they actually stuck in there.
Yeah, different experiences for everybody. For me, I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Oh.
It's all right, but no higher. Personally, can't say. I mean, I often like to do on the Cult Film Showdown. What did this episode teach you? And it taught me when somebody asks you to hold a baby, say no.
Yeah, that was a strange choice.
If you didn't know that already, man, you're hopeless. Those things leak.
I think when he's making eyes at the I think if a guy invites you into his house out of the storm, don't eye fuck his wife.
Even if he asks you to.
I mean, once he asks you, I mean that's it's just being polite, but I mean not while he's still hanging your coat up. Good old Haekel. He's in the house for about 30 seconds, and he sees the lovely wife, and doesn't blink for the rest of the scene. They
pretty much did the same thing to him, though. Like, there was immediate chemistry, which is kind of the thing that had me wondering where it was going to go. I mean, that took my interest a little bit, but yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, if that had been me, I don't think I even would have kicked him out. I think I would have punched him and then kicked him out immediately. But it is one of the where you're wondering why it is that this, and as he said it himself, why it is this old farmer with a small farm, old man farmer, small farm, not that good looking, has a wife that's a 20.
So true. The young wife was played by Leela Savasta, who has retired from acting, but had what I call on the show a very Vancouver resume. Episode of Smallville, episode of Supernatural, episode of Psych, Bionic Woman, Stargate, Battlestar Galactica. She did a series called Crash and Burn, which was as one of the longest stretches she did, and then a couple of Joyride 3, which I put a pin in that one too.
I am now going to watch that, but I have to watch Joyride 2 first so I can follow the story.
Maybe they'll do like a previously on for you.
I hope so.
Couldn't get into a Final Destination film.
Not the right agent, I guess.
It is what's missing. So is she Canadian?
She is, yeah.
Canada spotting right there.
Yeah, Vancouver born. And her.
How old is she now?
Around 40. But yeah, she retired for several years. I may have stalked her on Instagram just to see what she was up to, and about the last thing on her Instagram and Twitter is I'm retiring. So from a few years ago.
I did not stalk her, but I did watch the scene 7 times.
This will be well represented in the clips episode of Cult Film Showdown, Masters of Horror. That's for sure. Just sandwiched between replays of the scene from Deer Woman.
Pretty much. There's a couple.
And yet, the nudity in Pick Me Up, I'm guessing, is not going to make a.
Probably not.
Yeah, it had nudity, but it was a bit gross. That was gross. The sex with the zombies, I'm fine with.
My favorite part of that is actually is the intersection of Nick's opinion of that scene and Jack's is when the zombie hand goes up and gives a little boob grab. That's the crossover point where it's like, is it sexy or is it disturbing, or probably both?
Well, now I want to know if that was scripted.
She also had a small part in Black Christmas, the 2006 version.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that again. I don't know why, but just because I feel like, I should like it more.
That is the popular consensus on that movie, is people watching it a second time and confirming it's crap.
Well, I mean, the 2021 was it 2020 Black Christmas?
Yeah.
I thought it was 2020. I thought you meant the 2011 or 2009.
Well, how many Black Christmases have there been?
I think it's only 3. The original is a 1970s Canadian classic, which recently Quentin Tarantino said it's his favorite horror film ever. And 2006 is the one that it doesn't get great ratings, but it does have one of the best casts. Katie Cassidy, known from Arrow, Michelle Trachtenberg from who was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer a few years old before this, and it had done I think it was Gossip Girl she was doing at the time. Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Lacey Chabert. So it was quite a cast of dorm mates in the 2006, and then 2020 is the one that goes a different.
That's why I feel like I should like it more, is because of that cast.
It is a really cool cast, yeah.
Yeah.
And Andrea Martin as the house mom.
That's right, and a callback to the 1970 original, where she was one of the dorm mates.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, the 2021 was so vastly different. It's not. It's Black Christmas, but it's not. You know what I mean? So it's probably a better film than the 2006 one, but you just kind of watch it going, as a Black Christmas fan, this is not Black Christmas.
Yeah, it goes a very different direction with its story than either of these other versions. I believe that one sat on the shelf for a while too.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I think it had a year on the shelf or something like that. The 2019 one is in IMDb's bottom 100. So there's that.
2009 or 2006?
2019. So
19,
2006 and then 2019.
2019. Okay, gotcha. It was in the bottom 100. That's worse than I thought.
Bottom rated at number 83 on the IMDb's bottom 100.
It was a Blumhouse, wasn't it?
I feel like it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was also it's Blumhouse, distributed by Universal, who distributes most of the Blumhouse films.
It was kind of in their hit and miss area.
Yeah, I mean they swing for the fences. sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it
But
works.
yeah,
Sometimes it works for some people.
before.
Yeah.
We're now getting near the. I mean, we can't yet say what our favorite episode and runner-up is, but we're getting close because we're getting into now. The next episode will be the last episode of season 1, and the most controversial episode by far.
Oh, interesting! I did not know that.
Yeah, the one that did not air on television.
Oh wow!
Stream for TV. It was only in DVD. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm this one, like I say, won't stick with me. I get the feeling that one, for good or bad, will.
Oh, it's not a good.
This
is a gum on your shoe or gum on your brain type one.
Well, now you really. I want to dive into this one right away. This sounds great. So next episode, season 1, episode 13, as Jack said, the wrap up of season 1, and if you're hopefully you're finding a place to watch these. My recommendation is that you watch them so you're a little ahead of us, so you can be. You can talk to your car radio or your stereo, however you listen to your podcasts. Mono with a cassette deck, hopefully.
I'm sure you can download something on your smartwatch
that looks exactly like that. Yeah. Like when get an emulator on your computer that looks like a 1980s boombox, and listen to them that way.
That's awesome. I'm so
I love it.
Didn't realize that was a thing.
It's the world of the internet. Everything's a thing. I think you could still download Winamp from internet from the Internet Archive. Winamp, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you're the person who uses DuckDuckGo, so I assume you're also using Opera to surf the internet. Firefox.
Is Bing your backup search generator?
Navigator.
I continue to, as I do in most things, I continue to ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Nice callback. Ask Jeeves. Oh, how's your MySpace account doing?
I think it's going to break anytime now. I think it's really going to.
Did you hear the little helper clip, paperclip thing is coming back somehow?
Oh, good. Oh. that's definitely been missed.
Yeah. That's good. That'll help me making my GeoCity site.
That's the helpful paperclip inspired the digital product. I still want to get on the market. The stop helping me button.
All right, Masters of Horror.
Masters of Horror.
Do all
Mastering
the business
of horror, and the people who are masters thereof. Masters of which are horroring. All right, so the Cult Film Showdown. We're taking a break from our search for the ultimate B movie.
Or horroring?
Horroring, yeah. Horroring, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said masters of which are whoring.
If to party can be a verb, then to horror should be a verb as well.
To horror. Okay.
He or she did horror.
It's a horrible thing.
And if you go into somebody else's house, it's a horror house.
Isn't that a movie, The Best Little Horror House in Texas?
I think there is a parody.
All right, Cult Film Showdown is on Instagram, and we are on Patreon, where you can support our what I jokingly refer to as work on talking with the Masters of Horror. This was episode 12 of 26. We're committed to doing the whole series. We are sponsored by We Talk Podcasts, who has a Facebook and they have a Twitter. And we are also on and a website, wetalkpodcast.com, the home of the Octagon, and the home of many other quality podcasts. And also, we are on YouTube, so please like, subscribe, and definitely comment. We love the comments.
If you hate us.
Yeah, even if you hate us, because honestly, YouTube doesn't care about that. They just care that you commented. So really, I mean, you could say anything to us, and it only helps the algorithm.
Laugh.
Yeah, and it gives us a good laugh. Yeah, I love texting the guys that we've gotten a comment.
For commenting.
Yeah. Mad that we spent half an episode. Mad that we spent a half an episode talking about the incredibly beautiful body of work by the actors in this episode without showing you that. So from Nick and from Jack, we will talk to you next time.